Hezbollah, who launch attacks on northern Israel. This too would have to stop if a wider peace is to prevail. Joe Inwood, BBC News.
Well, with me now is Shehata from the BBC Arabic service. We don't know where we are with this at the moment. It seems to go one way, then another. But I suppose the main question is, as it stands, what is the likelihood that a deal will be reached soon?
It's very close, but also it's very far, according to the Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson, also Mr. Trump, saying it's largely negotiated, and after that, not rushing to do it, and we need to get it right. So there is conflicting, statement from the officials, because it's very complicated. And the main thing is because the pressure on Mr. Trump, the pressure in the world about the Strait of Hormuz, and they need to reopen it as soon as possible because the problems are going everywhere, especially in the poor countries, fertilizers, oil prices, and it will lead to some inflation. So it will be problematic all over the world. So they need to contain that. We are in the third month of the conflict. And there is, in Iran, the president of Iran said he can assure the world that we are not seeking a nuclear weapon. So there is assurance from Iran, but still some suspicious from the American. In addition to that, the new authority established by Iran, the Persian Gulf Strait Authority, which want to impose tolls and regulate the passage of the ships, and which is violating the international law. So there is some condition of Iran are not accepted by the American. American also went to with some condition in Iran, they are not accepted. So they need to find the middle way. So they need to divide the complicated process, distangle it, to be first to lift the blockade on the Iranian ports by the American, in return for the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. And within this time of the 60-day ceasefire, according to some reports about this plan or a deal, they can discuss the nuclear programs, they can discuss other issues affecting the highly enriched uranium. So there is many complicated, but it can be gradually discussed, not as one package.
All right. So what you've done there is you've listed very clearly, I think, the challenges, as you said. It's agreement on the nuclear side, the agreement of how you manage, should it be managed, the Strait of Hormuz. What I'd like you to just lay out very, very succinctly, if you could, Saeed, is the impacts of all of this, economic but also humanitarian.
It is catastrophic because if we look at the Lebanon front, there is civilian died, village demolished, and life not like before in Lebanon. In addition to that, the Iranian people facing problems because this prices, the blockade affecting Iranian people. In the West also, it's affected. In Britain here, last month, 100,000 were added to the unemployment market, and the Iran crisis is part of it, not the whole region, but part of it in the poor countries, because the fertilizers, the cultivation land is decreased, and this affecting the food prices. So the repercussions of the prolonged, war and conflict between Iran and the US will have disastrous effects. So this pressure more on Americans than the Iranian, because the Iranian believes in martyrdom, so they can do anything in order to defend their countries, in order to what they believe is the right to develop, peaceful nuclear program. But the other side, people are suffering. So if you compare both of them, the pressure more on the American more than the Iranian, because the Iranian are willing to die, but the rest of the world, they're trying hard through the British and French leading coalition of ships in order to help to secure the passage of the ships through the Strait of Hormuz. So there is pressure, diplomatic pressure, there is help, and there is offering from the Western countries and to help the American, but the American insisting on the military. But I think the pressure from inside, even the American, because the fuel prices are increasing, so there is pressure on Mr. Trump, especially the Congress mid-term elections in November coming soon. So it will put more pressure on Mr. Trump to make some concession to reach a deal.
All right. Saeed, thank you very much. Yes, the midterms, of course, are coming up. Saeed Shehata, thank you. you so much for that. We're going to stay with this subject because Benjamin Rad, the Senior Fellow with the Berkel Centre for International Relations, but also a lecturer in law at UCLA, joins us on the programme. And welcome to the programme, Benjamin. So I'd like to start off with the aspect of whether we are likely at this point to reach that deal. I mean, what details do we know?
What we've seen is the president express the fact that we are very close to a deal, the fact that a deal is on the table, and yet we've also seen statements indicating that the president is sensitive to criticism and feedback from others, both in his party and outside, who see the deal as a form of capitulation to Iranian demands.
We were just listening to our BBC Arabic correspondent there speaking, and he said that the pressure is probably more on the US than it is on Iran, because it's almost as if there is a mindset that, if you've got nothing to lose, you will go for it. You become a far more dangerous person to be involved with. Is that something you understand?
I would agree the pressure is greater. Yeah, I'd agree the pressure is greater on the United States. And this is in large part because we're talking about a democracy fighting a non-democracy. And in those instances, the pressure comes not just from external factors, such as who the United States is fighting, but there's tremendous domestic pressure. You all mentioned in the previous segment the upcoming midterms. Again, there's immense pressure from the American public, economic needs, the price of gasoline, the price of goods in general, inflation, all these things that have been aggravating President Trump since the start of his second term have now been exacerbated by this war. So you factor those domestic issues coupled with Iran's resilience and ability to adapt to the United States' far more superior military strength has left the U.S. in a weaker negotiating position than it would have otherwise envisioned.
So when we